Hello and welcome to the third reel. And today we got a video, a discussion, we could say today on the latest documentary that hit Netflix the other day. Excuse my dog, she's sneezing. About Lucy Letby, and I think we all have something to say now. This ain't the normal joking around type thing that I normally do. It's kind of a more of a serious matter, and these two have watched it as well. And I just want to introduce. This is Jess. Now she has her own channel. Don't mess with Jess. I'm going to put the link in the description below. I'll talk more about her in a second. And this guy again, he just wanders in. I don't know. I suppose we just got to let him join, I suppose. But apparently he's seen it too. Not apparently, he has. And today, make sure you like and subscribe, by the way. But today we're just going to discuss about what's happened, our thoughts about the beginning, the middle, and the end sort of thing, and our conclusions to the end. And also, I want you to leave your comments if you're watching, what you think as well. You know, because I am actually interested in balance out who's guilty or innocent, sort of thing. But anyway, so quick going into it. I made some notes because I feel all right. So as in the UK, if I don't know, maybe around 2017. There was a lady called Lucy. She's a midwife nurse in a hospital up in somewhere. Hold on, me doesn't know. Let me check. I had a note, but I've forgotten. It's somewhere up north, near you probably, Ian. And she was accused of murdering 7 babies and attempting to kill 16 or another 6 in total. Now, I remember this on the TV now and again on the news that some girl's been arrested. I see bits and pieces, you know. I didn't know the ins and outs, but I remember thinking, what a bitch, do you know what I mean? Like, Jesus. So upon watching this documentary, I was curious. And the reason why I watched it is I don't like this subject, but Netflix do good documentaries. I'm kind of getting into documentaries a lot since Netflix brought out that Making a Murderer. You all seen that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember turning my eyes away from Making a Murderer because I was like, hold on, there's 10 episodes of one subject, you know? But wow, you know. So anyway, since then, and because this is England and it's about England, I thought, all right, let me check it out. Now, going into it, I was the first half of it was going on about the evidence that they had against her. And before we got to the second half of that, I was thinking at one point, yeah, but just because she was there every day don't mean nothing. I mean, is that enough? And then I was thinking to myself, then there was a few damning things like you see the notes that she left. I was like, and then you see the shredder in the corner where she wasn't able to shred certain letters, and then they found the shredder in her house. I was like, "Ooh, that don't look good." Then she had 250 documents that she was supposed to destroy at work, but she had brought them home, and it had loads of stuff about babies and stuff in the documents. But what occurred to me while we saw that, which doesn't look good, to be honest with you, what occurred to me was like, is she like, did she do it because like anyone else would have got rid of that evidence? Do you know what I mean? Anyone else would have got rid of that evidence in the house and stuff. So to me, that was a bit, I don't know, I was up and down. Like, then you see, I don't want to talk too much about me, right, personally, but I've I've been arrested a few times when I was young. Don't judge me. When I'm being questioned and you're kind of, I've been sitting in a cell for 12 to 24 hours. And you know, when we first arrest you, you're, oh shit, you're panicking, you're this and you're that, right? When you've been sitting in a cell for 12 to 24 hours, you kind of become, you can't wait for this interview because you just want to get the next part over with. And you're somewhat calm. I am calmer at that point. If they interviewed me straight away, I'd be all over the place, yeah. But I'm calmer at that point. And they were pointing out that she was very calm a lot of the time. I'm like, even at funerals when I'm upset, I don't cry. It's not that I'm not upset. I really am. I don't cry. It's just everyone's different. And she was pausing in between question. Oh, she's pausing. She's thinking about her questions or answers. Anyone with a brain probably should anyway. Do you know what I mean? But I would be like maybe recollecting of they were saying times and dates, and she was a bit hazy. Also, a lot was going on, so it's hard to your brain to work properly. Now, I'm not defending her. Well, I am a little bit. I'm just saying is the way they condemned her about that. I was like, you're kind of what was that? Demonizing her, you could say is the right word over what those bits and pieces. I was a bit conflicted about all of that. Also, going by her friend, her family, she was an only child, her mum, her dad, and all that. She was like seemed like a nice person. I know, so did probably Jack the Ripper, but she seemed like a nice person. You know, like there is always some kind of mental issue, and there's always a kind of mental issue with someone, and it was never noticed. She had no reason. There's nothing ever happened to her in her life. There was never anything she'd done previous. And you know, your friends, your personal friends. I have a couple, and I've seen bits and pieces from some people that didn't like they're really nice, and I was like, that's a bit suspicious. You know, now one of them's in prison for murder, and he did it. Yeah, he just snapped one day, and I was telling people I could see little things here and there. Now, her best again, don't judge me, people. I'm really nice, yeah. But I was just saying is there was no her friend, maybe her friend's just defending her blindly. I don't know. But like you know yourself, right? There's sometimes you as a friend who you're very close with, you can see signs that could so I couldn't work out in my brain what was the motive for her to do this. What would be triggering in her head to do such a thing? Doesn't mean she did, doesn't mean she didn't. It's just I was trying to find that. So along with some stuff that looked damning, it still to me wasn't enough at that point. But again, I'm not an expert. What do I know? I'm not very bright anyway. But to me, I was like, yeah, don't look good. But is that enough to throw her into prison? But they did, convicted her. Also, I want to point out, I don't know if I should use this in the second part or the first. No, we'll stick with that for now, right? So, Ian, what's your opinion on the first half? What I was just saying, stuff like that. Do you agree, disagree? Do you think no, shoot her?
So one thing that stood out for me in the first half, which they never really came back to, which really confused me, related to her friend. When her friend first talks about their time when they went to their first hospital together, I couldn't figure out if it was the only one they
bullying.
were in. The bullying, yeah, and they never really come back to that again to say why they kind of made reference to that. So I wasn't clear. Was that the same hospital?
I
Right.
think it was, yeah. Yeah,
Well, if
because
it's the
I
same,
think she said she stayed. I don't know why she stayed. She
yeah.
said something like that. Yeah.
Well, if it was the same hospital and she'd been bullied there, you know, there's potential other things that need to be considered. And I'm not
I
saying,
agree. I agree.
yeah, that really
Yeah.
stood out for me. I think the fact that her friend spoke, you know, so well about her, I totally agree with you there. That if, um, the considering your answer in a situation where you might throw away your entire life, I would. If it took me 10 minutes to come to an answer, I'd take 10 minutes to come to an answer if it meant that I was making sure I was representing myself in the right way. Now, maybe that is it, right?
Exactly.
Maybe
Yeah.
that was the process that she was thinking, I need to say the right thing here.
I mean, it's murdering children. It
Yeah.
ain't did you beat someone up or did you it's murdering children.
Yeah.
You gotta like she was and also she's overwhelmed and confused. Maybe
Mhm.
she did need to take a second to recollect, you
Mhm.
know.
So there were all the things that kind of made me think, well, okay, I think you're stacking the deck against her a little. But then the
Mm.
other side was, well, why did you bring like those things home? Like always in your
Yeah,
pocket? That's an awful lot to always have in your pocket.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you put them in a file? Why did you file them away in order? Right? Um, that's like keeping records, right? That's how I
Mm.
would. That's how I
I know it
approach
didn't
it.
look good.
And you just try and you always position yourself there. Like, why would I, as an individual, do that? So either it's because I'm meticulous in everything, and
Maybe.
that's just the way I approach. But it didn't seem to be that case. That the writing that they kind of demonstrated showed a really kind of understandably so, right? Really, really confused and disorientated mind. And we find out why that was the case in the second half, so we can talk about that then. But that wasn't organized thought. But putting things in a box was organized thought. So, you know, I would have thought that would have been like lists sort of things. So, and with the shredder being there, why did she decide not to shred those things over other things? Right? Because they were inferring that she had shredded other documents. It was just these documents that she hadn't touched. So it's very difficult.
She did say, "I have no shredder," and goes on in the corner. Even if it was broken.
No, she didn't say that she had no shredder. She said that she had no way of disposing of them.
Oh, so all right, but still,
and
shredder was there. Yeah,
and they translated that too. Well, a shredder is a compliant way of being able to shred legal documents or to shred these documents. So,
yeah. 250 of them. It was a lot.
Yep.
Jess, your opinion on the first, all the evidence that was stocked against her, motives, and what do you think about that?
I can have a different standpoint on maybe why she kept those documents. You ready?
Yeah.
Maybe she was keeping them as evidence of something going on with malpractice within the hospital.
Possibly, though, but you'd think at this point she would have brought that up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Usually when people save stuff, it's because they're trying to keep a record of something for a reason. So for her to just keep them because, oh, you know, I forgot or I didn't have time, or that doesn't make sense. I think there was a reason why she was keeping those. I don't know exactly what it is, but possibly it's because maybe she noticed a pattern and she was keeping those files pertaining to it. And she kept them in order and everything. She was very organized.
I mean, maybe. Because, I mean, obviously something was going on in the hospital, you know, babies dying left, right, and center. But what I will say to you, Jess, is when you're being accused of murder and you've got all those files, now's the time to say, okay, this is the reason, you know, and she did, you know.
Yeah,
there's
a couple of things that were just weird and like she didn't make sense with her reasoning and what she was doing. Like you said, I would have gotten.
I agree.
I don't know.
It's a confusing time. It can't be. I'm not defending her, but I'm just kind of putting myself in those situations.
Yeah.
I've been in not for murder. I've just been in, when I was a kid, I was troublesome, and it wouldn't be just for silly things, but I remember trying to be careful on what I'm saying because I know that oh, you know what, you'll be all right. Just tell us the truth and you'll be all right. I'm like, nah, I know what you're up to. But I was saying is that in your opinion, do you think that the evidence did you think the evidence was damning for her at all? You know, with the shredder, her being there all the time, you know, every day, you know, did you think she didn't really need a motive, a bad upbringing to be that kind of a murderer? What did you think about all that?
Who?
Jess, sorry.
The circumstantial evidence they have, like the file she kept, her journal, right, all the papers she kept. It looks pretty damning, right? Like, why would you have that? But then again, where's the motive? Where's any of that? And the fact that she's there for all of them, they stated they were understaffed, they were overwhelmed, and not only that, she had extra training, and so she was was at a
right. Yeah.
Of nursing. So she was there to take care of the most severely ill.
I'm glad I actually would have forgotten that. That was a good point. Yeah. She did have extra training to be there, so it would have been silly for her not to be. You know,
right? Like, you know, if she's going to be there, if she's on her shift and she's watching over the babies that are sicker, because she does have that expertise over some of the other workers that are there. So yeah, it makes sense that she's there all the time. But the stuff that she had, the files that she kept, it doesn't look good.
And the letters where I'm a murderer, I think it was, don't quote me, but
so like the therapist. The therapist.
I know. No, sorry, Jess. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
just what I wanted to say is
but it doesn't
that
look good.
to me did not look good at all.
No.
I'm guilty. I did it. I'm a murderer. I'm like, that don't look good. Now, to me, despite it not looking good, Ian, despite it not looking good, I'm not an expert. I'm not a detective. But despite it all, the files had been there all the time. The little notes. Do you think that was enough to arrest her? I mean, was there anything other kind of evidence? It's all circumstantial, really, and they found different. See, this is another thing that
Is there a
conflicted.
question here?
Yeah, there is. All the different children, they were killed different ways, so she was trying to find different ways so it wouldn't look obvious. But a lot of killers, as I know, they find a certain way and stick to that certain way, if you get what I mean, rather than changing up. So to me, the changes could also mean just pure malpractice. What do you think of that, Ian? Do you think the evidence is enough to put her in prison forever?
It's not about what I think, right? It's about what the law says instead. And
no, I agree.
Yeah,
no, but
that's kind of my point. That's kind of my point. Right? My point is that I don't think there was enough there. Was there beyond reasonable doubt? Because that's what it's supposed to come down to, isn't it? No, I don't think it was beyond reasonable doubt. From what was there was reasons why she could have been where she was. She was a professional. She had no prior. Yeah, she approached the police herself to find out if she could help with their investigation. Now, they said it in a different way, which was that she contacted them to find out when they would speak to her. But let's take a step backwards here, right? That police force would have been under a huge amount of pressure. The hospital would have been under a huge amount of pressure to get a resolution to this case quickly.
Of course, yeah.
Okay? Because, as they said, with the prosecution, she has become the most prolific female child murderer in British history. Now, the most famous child murderer in British history is Myra Hindley, right?
And saying she eclipsed her,
and she did eclipse her.
Is a bit different. Yeah,
it is a bit different.
So
there is a difference there, but she absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, Myra Hindley.
Jess? Do you know Myra Hindley at all?
No, I don't.
All right. So you heard about the Moors murders? You know, Ian, you probably better
very
explain
quickly.
Yeah.
So during the 70s, there was a couple, Myra Hindley and Ian Rigsby. Ian Huntley. No, that's it. Yeah. Anyway,
I think he's the guy who killed the 2 young girls in Manchester.
Yeah. So Myra Hindley, and I'll tell you now. And basically, they kidnapped children, or
both of them, yeah.
Or rather, didn't necessarily kidnap them, but Ian Brady basically either got them to come with them or in some way, over a number of years, and in the moors behind Manchester, they went and buried these children's bodies, right? And they've been found guilty of it, and they've pleaded, they've admitted that they did it, but they won't tell their parents where the bodies are. And now,
so that was one of the things that they groomed them. Well, all right, but they did the worst possible, including her, which I always find it strange for a female to be involved with that. But murdered them, spread them all over the mountain, and
the moors.
They caught him. He would not give the parents where the bodies were, because all they wanted was just the bodies and buried them. He would not. It was like that one last bit of power he had over everyone. I will not tell you. So she, the wife or the girlfriend, I don't know if she was his girlfriend, she obviously was his accomplice with this, like full on accomplice, not like, and she abused them too. I hate saying that word, yeah. And so is she dead? I think she's dead now. She's spent the rest of her life in prison.
I mean, they sent body parts to the parents and all. I mean, these were horrific.
Bad,
I mean,
I'll show you some documentaries about it. Yeah,
you would probably find it really interesting because they went down as quite notorious.
The point is that she's been compared to Myra. Now, I can't remember how many children they killed, the other 2, Ian and all that. But the thing is that they're comparing Lucy to those. In fact, Lucy has probably killed one more than they have. Well, killed when I say killed, you know, maybe. And as we said, there's a big, massive difference. I mean, murder is murder, no matter what. You know, but there's a big, massive.
Five they've been found guilty of. They think there could be more, but there's 5.
Yeah, there could be more. But the thing is, they're comparing her, and I'm like, that on the headlines, that's the news, that's the media to get the big, you know. And I'm like, oh
yeah,
you know,
that's.
can you imagine?
I mean, both things are horrendous, but one is far worse and more sadistic than the other, I think.
Well,
I mean,
I want to get to
taking a step backwards, kind of, but I'm not defending the Moors murders at all, okay? But we're talking defenseless babies and children, right? And if she did do it, if she is guilty of that, then I would say that's pretty horrific.
Yeah, of course.
Right? We shouldn't compare these kind of things. They're not comparable.
No.
A murder is a murder, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It is, but it's just what our point is that what the other children had been
town over
pushed. Yeah, but what the other children have been pushed through before the murders, and anyway, you know, it's a big difference. But you know what? Still children. Now, I want to get into the second half where they flip it. I suppose they flip it, but we got this guy. I can't remember his name. He's a barrister. And you know, this is the problem. I feel like everyone wants to get famous from something, you know, so everyone's motives getting involved in certain things, like, you know, to make a name and all that. But as long as they can help, they can do what they want. Now, this barrister came along and he was following the case, and he was like, again, like we were talking about, it's all circumstantial. Again, we're not experts, we're not police, or I don't know how this kind of thing works, but just seemed like very little to throw her away. And as everyone said, nobody saw her do it, you know. But anyway, so this guy, he's come along and he's done all the evidence, he's got this and that, and he's come to the conclusion that they, like we said, didn't have enough. And all that. And he started investigating. For anyone who's watched, I'm assuming people have watched it, and if you haven't, spoilers. But he started coming up with the other part of the evidence, like what they said about the murder. So, like, I think she was seeing, what was it, a psychologist or a counselor or something? They told her to write those things down. Yeah. And she was writing down her thoughts. But I still think, why would you be writing that down as a thought? If you ask me, you know, I'm a murderer, I'm guilty. Why would you be writing those down? Maybe they showed it out of context, probably. I don't know. And then the circumstantial stuff at the hospital, like the evidence of how some of the children died, you know, it's just malpractice rather than, you know, deliberately sort of thing. I mean, still, if you're clever enough, you know how to do it. You know what I mean? But there was all these other things coming up. And to me, I was already thinking this, but it doesn't mean she's not guilty, to, you know, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't mean that. I was just like, at the first half, the NHS, which is a big, what would you say, establishment, big, massive thing over here, and the police, they really demonized her. And like you said, Ian, there was a lot of pressure on them. Yeah, and I thought those days had passed since, is it the Guildford 6 or something? You know, I thought those days had passed about the pressure. Yeah, the pressure was on them. First half really demonized her, you know, and then the second half. So I feel like, now, I just want to bring this up. According to the documentary, and I did double check, that the police and everyone brought in medical experts, loads of medical experts, to show how she could have done this and you know, to go against her. Her defense didn't bring not one medical expert to counter it, not one, which is supposed to be very unheard of, you know, in a case, especially like this. Yeah. It was unheard of, but no one on her side to counter what they're saying. So everything, and the poor girl was just, she had nothing going for it. Now, even if she did do it, I still think it wasn't enough. And when you see all this other stuff, you're like, so sometimes with documentaries, you don't know, they obviously want to get views and all that. So I did my own research, and yeah, this was all true. This did happen. How it played out. Netflix is pretty spot on with the way it played out. So what's your opinion on the flip side of things, like the expert, the evidence, the writing, the notes? What's your opinion then? Did you feel different? Did you feel worse? How did you feel, Ian?
So it does a good thing, right? The Netflix documentary, not a good thing, but it's narratively driven, right? It's trying to give you that plot twist, right? So
Yes.
we have to bear that in mind, right?
Yeah, that's why I checked myself. Yeah.
But yeah, so I looked into it as well, and yeah, her barrister is called Mark McDonald, and you're right. He's a bit of a. It's not the first time that he's kind of proceeded with kind of these
All
cases.
right, really? Yeah, I'm always like that. They want an aim, they have an aim, but if it works in your favor, so be it.
But that doesn't mean that it was wrong to do it. I mean, she didn't get fair representation. There's no doubt about that, and we know that she didn't because of what's happened post, right? So the fact that they're not trying to level any more murders against her, that the Home Office has said that they're going to be dropped. The fact that there was, I think, one of the kind of a respected MP stood up and spoke on her behalf in the House of Commons to say that she had a bit of not a bit of, but she had been underrepresented and in those cases. And if I was going through what she would have been going through as an individual, and I was told by a psychiatrist to go away and write all my thoughts on a piece of paper, then quite probably some of those thoughts would have come out too, because it's word salad at that point. You're just trying to get everything out of your head that you could
Yeah,
possibly
no,
get.
I'm not knocking her. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think,
Yeah. So
I just want to say this one last thing before you carry on. I think I said it already, but if you had done apparently what she had done and bringing those documents home and all that, I think you yourself, being somewhat clever, I think, would have got rid of those evidence. But she just left them there,
Yeah.
like innocently in that sense too, But yeah,
but I mean, going back to the evidence against trophies, plenty of murderers keep
yeah,
trophies,
they do. Yeah,
Yes.
and they manifest in different ways. Okay, so
yeah,
that was my
that's a good point.
that was my first thought. But what I would say is,
No, that's
Mhm.
yeah.
to your thought process of okay, maybe she was gathering evidence because something else was going on in the hospital. Then why didn't she turn around and say, right? Why was that never brought up? Maybe
Yeah.
she did. Maybe it will. But I'm sure
Maybe she
her defense lawyer now would have brought that up on her case. But I do think the fact that there's been some major kind of rowback by the Home Office on what she's been doing now suggests that they realise that she hasn't had a fair and due process. And to emphasise, I don't know whether she did it or she didn't do it. But what I do know is that there's a system that you're supposed to work through, and they didn't use that system fairly. And that's what this is more about: is did that person go through the system fairly? And no, she didn't.
I agree.
Yeah. So what do you think about this, Jess? Do you think the flip side with the evidence that, what they were saying that sorry, I should have said. So this barrister did bring in a medical what do you call him? Expert.
Mhm.
The Chinese, or sorry, the Asian guy.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I actually quite liked him. I actually, watching him, I've got this thing where are they lying, looking at them and all this, but he seemed legitimately, like a spot on type of guy. And he was countering the evidence, and he was showing this and that. And whether he's accurate, which he can't be, he has to be somewhat accurate, it still should be enough for them to go, okay, let's look into this, And so they bring in that guy, and he did say he come up with all these reasons how she couldn't have done it or may not have been able to do it, And I thought that was quite intriguing as well. And I felt very sorry for her that she had everything against her, and there was even her own defense didn't do anything for her. It makes me I don't want to go into the conspiracies, and I know, but it's just the defender, either he was just shit, bone idle, or he was like, there's no point fighting this, and I'm on their side, sort of thing. I don't know. It just didn't seem fair. Sorry, I interrupt you, Jess. What did you think about all the letters? What the counselor told her to write down? The examiner and all that. What did you think?
Well, I think with everything the psychiatrist or therapist, whatever, told her to write down, I'm thinking if I'm guilty of something, why would I be writing down my deepest, darkest secrets? Like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to me. That was just weird. Also, she had like no defense. Like, it seemed like she wasn't fighting. I don't know if like there were private conversations with her defense counsel behind closed doors, but it seemed like they weren't fighting. There were no experts really on her behalf from her side. It just seems like she gave up almost. I don't know whether the system gave up on her, and like you said, she just didn't have a very good defense counselor, or she just gave up and was like, there's so much stuff I'm never getting out of this. There's so many things that they're bringing up against me. It was kind of weird. And then the expert that they brought in, I believe they were referencing a book or an article he wrote, I think in like 89 or something. It was a while ago. And they used stuff that he had referenced in there to determine the causes of some of the babies, I believe, their deaths and the whole air embolism thing.
Yeah.
It was like baby Zoe, I want to say. And then, they contacted him and he's like, actually, no, that's not, what actually happened to the baby or whatnot. And he was explaining how that couldn't have happened and how it must have been something else. And then he also mentioned too about, I think it was Zoe's mom. She was in labor for like a really long time. She had a really difficult time. She could not get the baby out. And I think like her water or something had ruptured. And he said the hospital should have immediately administered her antibiotics.
Right. Yeah.
And she even says, they failed me, whatnot. They should have given me that medication. And the doctor expert said, should have been instantly administered antibiotics. It makes the baby very sick. The mother could be very sick. That could have been the cause of death, could have led up to the sickness. So there were protocols that the hospital staff did not take that they should have in the cases of some of these babies who ended up really sick and unfortunately passing away. And so I think that's a really good point to bring up too. And then it's just, there's a lot of stuff. It's so weird because the first half, like you said, they kind of demonize her, right? And I'm watching it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like, I wanted to throw up, right? And then the second half comes and it's like, wait a minute. What about all this stuff? What about this point of view? What about these experts that are contradicting what their experts said? So I think it's really interesting. And like, I don't know if she did it or not. It's
sure.
It's just very strange that some of the things she did, if she did do it, don't make sense. And like you said, like serial killers and stuff, they keep trophies. So they're going to keep things.
Yeah, that was a good point, Ian. Yeah.
But I mean, if the police are on your trail, why aren't you tossing it? If you did do it,
I know, but either maybe she's a bit dopey, she didn't think.
I think you guys.
I'm just saying.
I think you guys are looking at it from a completely different angle, which is, if you're a serial killer, you're not sane. So saying why you would do this, right? That's because you're a sane person.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I know, but a lot of these serial killers are very good at hiding stuff as well. Their whole mindset is hiding this and hiding that too. And you didn't. Also, you're right. Looking at it, but looking at it as someone with mental who wants that, they're probably more interested in hiding stuff as well. As far as I'm concerned, hiding everything. They're good at that. I mean, maybe she's not, but also it makes me think on the flip side. Maybe she was just a bit dozy, but that's a lot of letters to have at home that she forgot to. I did that at work. I was always bringing paper. I have to write stuff down when I was working, and it'd always end up with me. And I probably got a load of it, but not that much. Do you know what I mean?
No, and I don't think she was supposed to even bring those documents home from the hospital.
No.
So there's that point too. They weren't supposed to leave the premises. So
I get if you
But
just shove it in
to
your pocket, right? But then it's the filing of it. There was
yeah,
a box
in the
Yeah.
little
or a
brown
file.
box. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yep.
chuck it in the bin or something, you know, bring it back in.
Put it in the
But
shredder.
I
It's
think
there.
they said it was 250. That's 250. I don't know how many she brought back per day. After a few days of bringing stuff home from work, which I've done, I'd be like, oh shit, I leave it in my truck. Oh my God, leave it in there. You know, I'd start remembering to do that. I don't want all this pile, but she didn't. That don't mean enough though for me.
No.
Also, to your point, that something you brought up, I'm glad you did, Jess, was when someone hurts you or someone in your family, yeah, dev is bad. You want justice and you just see red. And what I liked about the mum that we were following on this, who lost a child, she kind of started turning her opinion as well. You
Yeah,
know?
she kind of flipped
Which,
after she heard
yeah,
some.
which I was really like she did that, because that means she's level-headed. You know, like if someone does something to me, I want someone to burn for it. Do you know what I mean? And when they
Yeah.
get someone, that's it. It's them. You know, that's it. But she was able, and I think also that says a lot, because she'll probably know more about this case than we do.
Oh, yeah.
I think that says a lot to the point of, did she get fair justice? You know, and
Yeah.
I think Ian felt left out, so he pissed off. But
So on that point, the mother, Zoe's mom or whatnot, you know, in that second half, she's like, they didn't give me antibiotics. They should have. You know, my baby was really sick. They said, and I think it's interesting how she said they stated she was getting better and she seemed to be doing better, but then she died.
yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah. But then on that side, that could be another reason why it looked suspicious for her as a murder as well. Like, she was getting better. But like you said,
yeah,
they were supposed to administer, but just because they didn't administer those antibiotics doesn't mean that there was anything dodgy going on. It doesn't look good. I've been to the hospital and they're supposed to give me stuff, like, and they didn't, and so what, you know?
Yeah.
It's just forgetful or silliness. And I suppose when it comes to antibiotics, I think it's quite serious, especially when the woman has a baby.
oh,
But
yeah,
again, it
you
could
can
be
die
just,
from infections.
yeah, of course.
You
But
can die from those
again,
infections when you're in, you know, a difficult and long and strenuous child labor. So
no, I agree. So I think forgetful at some things maybe, but certain things you need to be careful about, and that was one of them. And I liked the mum on it, and I felt sorry for her. And I did really like the fact that she was able to stay level-headed about she didn't get the right justice, which most people, most parents like me would be burn her. Do you know, that kind of thing? I would just see red.
yeah, I would
You know,
lose it.
and I
Crazy.
think this says a lot about her and the case. Now, there's something, I don't want to get into conspiracies now, right? But I got to say this, yeah? Right, so according to my research, she has been refused a retrial, yeah? Which is bad, even with the new evidence that been brought up to her, them, right? I was like, that's kind of unfair, but you've got to look at it this way. If they start to give her a retrial, it's going to look, the judges look bad because, oh, we've made a mistake. Now, she's going up against the NHS. If the NHS has any kind of malpractice, that means she'll be able to sue for millions. So will all the mums and families, sorry, of the babies.
Yeah.
NHS is already under pressure half the time, you know, and it's going to look bad. So they have a lot of big executives will not want this. Again, conspiracies. Now, also with the police, they condemned her, they demonized her, they arrested her pretty fast without much. They will look bad too, and they're always on the fire over here. Do you know what I mean? So she has a lot going against her. If you look at the big brother is watching the men behind the police and people who, it will look bad. Now, also, it will look bad on the judges who condemned her very easily. Because, like, if I was a judge, I'd be like, is this enough evidence? But he just went along with it. Now, this last thing I need to point out, and this is just out of experience, yeah. they said when she was at the sentencing, she didn't look sad or angry or anything. She just looked like she had no remorse and all. And I was like, listen, if you lose someone in your family, you'll cry. You'll be really upset for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. A month later, 2 months later, you'll still be devastated. But it doesn't mean you're going to cry at this point. And she had been through all this. Just because she was like, even when you see her arrested, she was kind of, oh, what's going, she was a kind of a submissive type girl, if you ask me, why she was bullied. She was kind of, and she would be an easy scapegoat. Maybe I don't think there was anything deliberate going on in the hospital at all. But stuff didn't look good. And then they thought, all right, well, they're accusing her, so let's go with this. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying she has a lot to go against. She's got to go fight the NHS, big time, the police, everyone. Little old her, who she got with that Barra stuff, And as soon as they give her a retrial, which they refused,
Wow.
I still think she's screwed, personally. Unless you got like the guy who got OJ out. What's his name again? Like people have got away with not worse, with more evidence. It just feels like there was very little. But to me, my last word on it is I'm conflicted. I think some of the things didn't look good at all, like the lettering you were saying and bits and pieces. But to me, it isn't enough. I still don't see a motive for it at all. Doesn't mean there isn't. So I don't want to say yes or no, but I do feel the one thing I do feel is that she didn't get a fair shot at everything. I feel like it was too quick, too fast, and she didn't get a fair shot. And that's the one thing I will say. So whether she did it or not, I'd like to say she didn't. I feel that she didn't, but I'm that kind of guy that always kind of goes, no, they didn't do it. I want to believe that. So yeah, but my last word is, yeah, I don't think she got a fair shot, and that's where I stand. So I'm conflicted. Ian, what say you?
I say, first of all, the judge wouldn't reflect badly on the judge, and it's because it was done by it was done by jury. So both trials that she
had, fair enough. Yeah,
by jury. So he
all right, yeah, good point. Yeah. I'm going to block that out because it made me look bad, like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to edit that bit out.
Cut it out.
Shut up. Let's just get rid of him. Hold on 1 second. There you
go. I'm with you, right? I think there's obviously something strange going on why they won't allow a retrial. I think it's just because it's got too much attention now. I think probably something in the future something quiet will happen, because from a compensation perspective, if she was found to be not guilty in a future trial, then there would be so much money that they need to pay to so many different people. I do think there are threads that they never, or certainly the documentary never made it look like they had kind of investigated fully. Like did her friend ever tell the police that she was bullied? Like her friend brings it up in the documentary, but did she ever go?
I'd say she did, but
we don't know, right?
We don't know.
We don't know. And that could have been a thread that they could have, because if she was being bullied, and then she could have been made a fall guy for it. Right?
I agree. I think she was, because going by her personality, and people can be cliquey, especially when you go to a new job. She did seem very submissive and very kind of quiet and innocent, and that's always the kind of target. Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah. I was a bit of a shit in school, and that's always the target of kind of, I can see it happening with her, where someone tries to bully you, Jess, you go, all right, and then you become too hard to bully after that, and that's it. With Ian, like, I can imagine you being bullied everywhere you go. Even your wife bullies you, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Only joking. Really. What I'm getting at, though. She did have that.
She was
persona where she was
passive.
very. Yeah.
And women are terribly cliquey and cruel if they don't like you, and that's a profession where you're working with a bunch of women.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
If I I agree with you, will I be cancelled?
Yes.
What was that?
If I agree with you, will I be cancelled?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
100%.
Yeah, all
Women
right.
are-
No, you're wrong.
Women are vicious.
No, how dare you say that? No, men are vicious too. No.
So I think for
Yeah,
me, I
sorry.
don't know whether she did it or she didn't do it. I just don't think
Yeah.
the right process was followed. So
Yeah.
I can concur wholly with that. I have no idea if she did or not. Like Derek said, I hope to God she didn't, because that's just absolutely awful. Those
In some
poor
ways, I hope
babies
she
and their
did,
families. I can't imagine. But the way they made it, she did it in the first half, and then maybe she didn't do it in the second half. And then you have all this testimony from people who've known her. You have, again, the bullying. You have, she is like kind of quiet, kind of reserved. I don't know. I know she had she's being interviewed and she's just like, that's weird. If I didn't do it, I'm definitely going to be fighting for myself. I'm going to be standing up for
I
myself.
don't know. It's just her, the way she was just that kind of submissive, soft kind of a person. I saw
But the
that.
thing is, too, like when they went to arrest her, and they went to her house quite a few times, right, to bring her in, and then she got arrested, and then she bailed or bonded, whatnot, and then she went back in, and she's crying. She's upset. She's crying. She's showing more emotion when she gets arrested than through the rest of the entire process, according to what Netflix had shown us.
My point is I don't want to. I know what you're saying, and you're right.
It's just odd to me.
The
It's
fright
odd.
of me being arrested when I had been. If they interviewed me the second I was arrested, fine. But 24 hours later, when I stayed a night in the cell, I was just like, do you know what I mean? Oh, don't, for anyone's watching, it was nothing like this. It was just silly stuff. But it's just, I had that kind of,
but they don't reference they don't reference what her own defense told her to do. For all we know, her defense could have told her to.
Yeah, maybe, because she did
when
say
you're
no
responding.
comment a couple of times. Yeah, there is that too. And also, I want to say that she just had that kind of very, like, when she was crying when she was arrested one of the two times, it wasn't hysterically either. Do you know?
No.
So it was just very soft, because she seemed like a very soft-spoken type person. And look, we're not psychologists. Well, I know everything though, but it's just those things can go against her as well, making, she's, and I always hated that when people say, they had no remorse, unless they did something heinous and they were just laughing. But just sometimes when you don't show certain things, because I know I don't, and I don't mean not to. Sometimes when I'm upset, I don't show it. You might see me angry, but that's it. And I feel like, no, you can't condemn her for that. That's just, people are different, and they just tried to demonize her for the whole thing. So final words, Ian, guilty, she guilty or innocent?
Don't know.
Yeah. Jess, what do you say?
I don't know, and I want to see another trial. I want to see her defense bring more witnesses and testimony, medical experts actually looking at autopsies of these babies and what they actually died from. Could it have been from something else? Is it not exactly what they said it was? Like, I feel like she needs more representation, and I want to see her have another trial and have everything laid out, not just one side.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you on that. Me personally, did she do it or not? I'm going to lean towards she didn't, but again, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs. I'd like to think. Second half, can you imagine if she is? Can you imagine if she is, like, poor thing, sitting in the prison, nice innocent girl looking after babies, and now she's in prison? Can you imagine that? It must be awful. So in some ways, I kind of hope she did do it, because the pain what she's going through would be too much.
I don't know about over there, but over here in the States, if you're a pedophile in prison or a child murderer, they will kill you. They will try to kill you.
There's special prisons in the UK that they.
No, you're right. She will. Yeah,
she's probably gonna get tortured, and
that's a good point. Yeah, over here is the same. If you've done something like that, you will have hell. And also the guards, the screws, whatever you call them, her life will be miserable in there.
They'll turn their back and just let them take care of her.
Yeah, and also if she didn't do it, well, we don't need to explain, it goes without saying, but if she didn't, the whole thing, she's like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And again, she's got a lot of going. She has a lot of people to fight against. It's like going in against Tyson. You know, you're a small little dude and you've got to fight Tyson. It's like, I've got a lot. I've got a lot here. You know.
She's
So
quiet.
yeah,
She's meek. She's shy. I guarantee you, she would not be able to fight off anyone, probably, or you know. So
yeah. It's just when I say like we got the NHS who's will lose billions. They will look terrible. The police will lose billions. They will look awful. Yeah. They ain't gonna let that happen too lightly, you know. So, you know, she's a lot going against her. But I will say this Netflix TV show, because I knew about this girl on the TV. I didn't know much, but I knew and I was like, what bitch for that? You know, what the hell is she doing? You know, that's all I knew about it, and that was it. So hopefully this Netflix show, because everyone loves these documentaries, one thing I like from Netflix is hopefully this kind of brings more light onto it and maybe helps towards her getting actual justice, whether she did it or not, you know. So yeah, but I want to say this to you guys. I want to wrap that up, and I just want to say thank you both for joining me on this.
yeah,
Take the bottle out.
thank you.
I want to say, yeah, thank you for joining me on this. It's a bit of a darker discussion as usual, but I feel like I wanted to know your opinions, and I appreciate it. For anyone who's interested, Jess has a new movie channel, and she's really good at it. And don't mess with Jess. I'll put a link in the description. Jump over, have a look. She's really good at it. Ian ain't got nothing, but you know, he turns up here now and again. So keep your eyes open. He'll turn up now and again for these things. I've got another couple of videos coming out with us in it. Goodfellas and True Romance, but they'll be coming out soon. But Jess has more to come. I want to say again, thank you. Everyone like and subscribe if you're watching now. I want to know in the comments what your opinion on this. I want to see who thinks what in the comments. Like, so I want to see the balance of it. You know, yeah, she did it or she didn't do it and all that. I just want to see the balance and count it all out. And, you know, no judgment, by the way. So yeah. Like and subscribe. I want to say thanks for everyone for watching, and I'll see you later.